Hi, I'm Kate, and over the next 20 minutes, we're going to look at some of my favourite exercises to keep the hips and knees happy. So starting off, holding on to either a piece of furniture or a wall, we're going to have our feet in parallel and pull up nice and tall through the spine. We're going to start off with a forwards lunge, so that's your back heel coming off and your front knee bent, and then pushing back into parallel. We're going to repeat this 10 times on one leg and then repeat it on the other. It's important that you put a lot of your weight onto the front foot so that you can really spring backwards into parallel. This is going to wake up the muscles. Don't worry if you lose your balance, you can always hold on to something to stabilize you. Try to keep the feet truly parallel in this exercise. And now swapping legs. This is a great warm-up exercise for the knees, but also for the feet and ankles too. As you lunge forwards, give the back toes a stretch, and if you feel like this is too easy, you can always take your hand away from the furniture so you're just using your core strength. If you're particularly mobile, you can go for a much deeper lunge, whereas if you're just starting out, go small and build it up gradually. Now you'll want to lean against a wall with the heels slightly away from the wall. Don't lock your knees, keep them soft, and use your hands to support you so you can either push against the wall or hold onto furniture. Keeping the back long and the knees straight but not locked, we're going to lift up the toes until we have 2 flexed feet and lower them back down. We're going to repeat this 10 times. Try to do the movement slowly with control and keep the feet parallel. As we flex the feet, we're engaging the anterior tibialis. By stretching and strengthening the ankles, we're also helping to strengthen the lower part of the knee and also making sure that we're working with correct alignment. Now, increasing the difficulty slightly, we're going to do some fondues in parallel with a flexed foot. So keeping the legs straight, you're going to tap the heel forwards, then to the side, and then tap the foot to the back. Your weight should be on your supporting side and both legs are parallel. The heel just touches the floor very lightly. Then we're going to combine this with our lunges, forwards, sideways and backwards before closing into parallel. Off we go. We're aiming for a deep bend where the knee goes past the toes, but if this is too difficult, you can increase it gradually. You don't have to lift the leg very high as you're moving from one direction to the next. Just keep this movement very slow and controlled. As you stretch your supporting leg after each fondue, try not to lock your knee. Moving on to our lunges, this is about weight placement. So as you lunge, bring your weight forwards onto that supporting foot and keep both knees bent. Let's repeat everything now on the other side. Starting off with our fondues in parallel with a flexed foot. You might also notice that this is a great warm-up for the hips, and we will be focusing a lot more on the hips later on. And now repeating with our lunges, front, side, back, and then into parallel. Moving on to our heel raises, we're going to keep the knees bent and then lift both heels up onto demi-point and slowly back down. We're going to do 20 of these. Try to control the descent as you lower the heels, and this is going to work on really strengthening the knees and the ankles. Keep your legs parallel and the spine nice and tall. Don't worry about your balance here, feel free to hold on to something to support you. Keep your weight on the big toes and the second toes, and as you lower the heel down, really ground it into the floor so you feel a good stretch through the Achilles and the calves. Once this starts to feel too easy, you can try doing rises on just one leg and then switching over to do the other. Finishing off with a quad stretch, hold onto your foot, draw the knee back slightly, tuck the hips under until you feel a nice stretch through the quads, and repeat on the other side. Great job! We're now going to do some exercises on the floor, so feel free to grab your Pilates mat. Starting off seated with one leg bent and the knee pointing up to the ceiling. You're going to place both hands under the knee and then keeping the leg parallel and moving the foot only from the ankle, you're going to take the foot out to the side and inwards. We're going to do 10 of these. It's important to keep your leg still so the movement is coming purely from the ankle. Don't worry if your range of movement isn't much, it will increase with practice. Personally, I love this exercise, and whenever my knees are feeling a little stiff, I'll always do 10 of these on each leg. And our last one. Now switching over, and we'll do the same on the other leg. Find your alignment, keep the leg parallel, hold just below the knee, flex the foot, rotate out, flex, lift in. So you're pivoting on the heel. And relax. Focusing now on the hips, we'll begin with an exercise for the hip flexors. Sitting tall with your legs extended in front of you, you're going to lift one leg at a time, lifting the leg up and over twice, and then reversing the movement back in. We're going to do 4 of these on each leg. Off we go. Don't worry about height, just focus on keeping the movement controlled. Keep the spine long and you can support yourself with your arms. If you're unable to sit completely straight, you can lean backwards, and you can also lean against a wall if you find this exercise particularly challenging. That's our last one on this side, so now let's swap over to the other leg. Last one, and relax. Lying on your back now with your knees bent, feet hip width apart, we're going to do one of my favourite exercises for the hips. This is a very small, minimal movement, but the effects are wonderful. Place your hands on your hips, and then you're slowly going to open one knee out, like opening a book, and then slowly close it back in. Don't let the pelvis drop or twist, and keep your supporting leg very still throughout. You'll notice there's a tendency for the supporting leg to open out a little bit, so keep it parallel and very still. We're going to do 10 on each leg. Off we go. This isn't about opening the knee as far as you can. It's about doing this exercise very slowly and as smoothly as possible. Keep checking in with your supporting knee to make sure it's completely still. Personally, I've also noticed that this exercise has helped to strengthen my lower back. It's also a great opportunity to compare both hips and to see if one is maybe stronger or more flexible than the other. And that's our last one on this side. Swapping over now to the other knee, checking your alignment, and off we go with 10 knee openers. And relax. For our next exercise, we're going to start off with a pelvic roll. Then in our bridge position, we're going to be working on both the knees and the hips. So once you're in your bridge position, make sure that your pelvis is really tucked and you're engaging your core, and there should be a nice diagonal line from your shoulders to your knees. Extend one leg up in this position without your hips dipping, and pulse upwards, so lengthening through the toes, lifting the hips up to the ceiling. We're going to do 10 on each leg. So you'll notice your knee needs to be really stable in this position, your lower back needs to be strong, and your hips need to be stable so that there's no movement in the pelvis. And swapping over to the other side. Don't let the hips drop, keep them really lifted, and when you're finished, lower the foot down, hips still lifted, and then we're going to roll back through the spine until the hips are down. Hug your knees and stretch out your hips. Kneeling up now on all fours, check that your shoulders are directly over your hands, knees hip width apart. We're going to extend one leg behind you, carry it up and over out to the side, tap the toes, bring it across your supporting leg, and then back out to the side. We're going to repeat this 10 times on each leg. I love this exercise, but it is very difficult. So if you want to make it slightly easier, you can reduce the size of the movement and then build it up gradually as you feel stronger. Keep the hips still, the spine long, check the alignment of the neck, so we're not tucking the chin or lifting it too much. You should feel like the back of the neck is straight. This exercise is all about stability and gradually increasing your range of movement in the hips. As an added bonus, this is also a wonderful core workout. So you should feel this in the abs, you should feel it down the back and through the lats, and you may even feel it in the arms too. Last one, relax the leg down. Moving on now to do some fire hydrants. You're going to open the knee, keeping the leg at a 90-degree angle and without opening out the pelvis, and then close it back in. Off we go with 10 on each leg, trying to keep the pelvis still. So again, we're working on stability, control of movement, and strength of the hips and glutes. Avoid pinching the waist as you lift the leg up, so keep the spine very long and make sure the movement is just coming from the hips. And relax. Switching over to the other side now, we're going to begin with our leg raises. So on your hands and knees, your leg is going to extend out to the back behind you. You're going to lift it up and over out to the side, and then across your supporting leg. 9 more to go. And relax. Now we have 10 fire hydrants on this side. Relax and sit back on your heels. Give your wrists a good stretch and a circle. Now working on our range of movement, this exercise also focuses on our lower back. On your hands and knees, you're simply going to lift one hip up and lower it back down. We're going to do 10 on each side. I always find this exercise really interesting as it shows me if one side of my body is stronger or more flexible than the other. As always, do this slowly and smoothly, lowering down onto the knee very gently. And now let's swap sides, and remember to keep checking in with the alignment of your spine, shoulders, and neck. Last one, and now relax. Lying on your front, we're going to do an exercise for hip mobility. This is a fun one, so starting off with our legs in frogs, so that's knees open, soles of the feet together, forehead down. You're going to lift one leg up as the other heel presses down, and then alternate. This exercise reminds me of window wipers on a car, and it's really good for stretching out the hips and working on your range of movement. Opening out the lower legs, and we're going to rock back for a good hip stretch. Feel free to gently rock forwards and backwards until you feel a nice stretch through the hips. We're going to do 20 in total. Open out the feet, push up onto your elbows and rock back for a good hip stretch. Feel free to put something under the knees if this is uncomfortable. Sitting up, and we're now going to stretch out in child's pose. So your knees should be slightly open, forehead down on the floor, arms stretched out in front of you. Our next exercise is clams. This is a very popular exercise among dancers as it works on your turnout and strengthens the glutes. Lying on your side, knees bent, feet directly underneath your tailbone, one arm in front of you to support you. We're going to pick up the feet, open the top knee so you make a diamond shape, checking that your hips are stacked on top of each other, and we're going to open and close 20 times. As you push the knee back, you should keep the pelvis very still until there's a feeling of resistance, and this is what's going to help you increase your range of movement. Last one, and relax the feet down. Now we're going to repeat all of this 20 times on the other leg. So lying with the spine straight, one arm under the head, hips stacked, knees bent, feet under the tailbone, off we go. Now for our last exercise in the series, we focus on the knees, but I would not recommend this if you are having knee trouble. This exercise is only for healthy knees. So kneeling up, we're going to tuck the hips under and rock back until you can feel the quads activating. And then we're just going to move the body forwards again so that we are realigned. We're going to repeat this 10 times. Don't force this movement. you can increasingly move further backwards as you build in confidence and strength. Keep the pelvis tucked and the core activated at all times. Keeping your arms reached out in front of you can help with your balance, but also help to remind you to keep your shoulders down and lats activated. And last one. Well, that completes this series. Well done if you've managed all exercises, but don't worry if you haven't, you can always build them up. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out the other series available.